Alright, in this video I want to talk about the latest videos Brian Dillinger came out with talking about the flat earth. Came out with a couple of short ones, about 10 minutes total, but he didn't really give any substance, right? Basically, his argument is that the flat earth is wrong because of the way flat earthers have been responding to him in the comments, and how they're militant and they're angry and the strife and what have you. And I was like, huh, that's kind of strange, because I commented on his video because in the first one that he brought up, it was about 4 minutes long, he mentioned something about flat earthers saying he's lost because he doesn't believe the flat earth. And I was like, so what? You say that people are lost if they believe in evolution. So what? You're being inconsistent. So if we use the same logic and apply it to the things you say, all of a sudden, hey, no, that doesn't apply here. Because if you believe the Bible, you wouldn't believe in evolution. Well, if you believe the Bible, you wouldn't believe in the spherical earth either. Because the Bible tells us that the earth is a circle with four corners. It tells us that it's immovable. And we're told in Joshua that the sun and the moon stood still. Now, if you believe the earth is spinning, which you have to believe if it's a sphere, or else how are you going to have the day-night cycle and the seasons and what have you, right? So if that's what's going on, that the earth stopped moving so that the sun and the moon appeared to stand still, well, the earth's spinning at about 1,000 miles an hour. If that all of a sudden went to zero, you would notice it as the oceans would cause massive tidal waves all over the earth and basically destroy all life. And if anything survived, it would be destroyed as soon as the earth started spinning again and started going 1,000 miles an hour from zero and just started taking off again. You would notice that again, and the oceans would again cause devastation, making sure everything on earth was dead. So to believe in the spherical earth is not biblical. So if you believe in evolution means you're not saved, well, according, not me saying it, I'm using Brian Dellinger's logic, then if you don't believe the flat earth, then you're not saved. I'm not saying this. I'm just applying Brian Dellinger's logic to this situation, right? Now, not only that, but if I take his argument about, oh, people were militant and causing strife, that means it's not true. Well, when I put that comment on his video saying that, hey, you say that people who believe in evolution are lost, I was like, that seems like a double standard. And then the comments I got were, well, how could you believe in evolution and the Bible? Did someone hurt your feelings? Wah, wah, wah. And I was like, there's no need for that kind of a response. Why can't we have a normal discussion? I mean, the first comment I get from somebody is calling me a crybaby. That's instigation. That's provoking, right? So if I did end up lashing out, they would probably say, look at this flat earther acting out. But it's towards instigation. Like, if people get poked, eventually, even if they're a patient person, they're going to snap, right? They're going to say something. Even if it's like, knock it off, right? It's no big deal. So if we're going to apply Brian Dillinger's logic to this, well, then he's wrong, because of all the people who believe him, they're acting militant and rude, and that's just not Christ-like. That's not Christian-like to be acting like that. It's not. So he's wrong. We don't have to look at the evidence. We don't have to look at the evidence for the flat earth and against the sphere earth and vice versa. Nope, we're just going to dismiss it because look at that. People are acting rude and they believe that. Oh, okay, then everything they believe is wrong. You know what? Let's apply it to everything they believe, right? Well, people, they act like that all the time, considering other biblical things, such as sola scriptura, or the gospel, saved by grace through faith, that not of yourselves is a gift of God, not of works, lest any man should boast. I see this all the time, and Catholic forums where Christians get upset and they act rude and disrespectful towards the instigation of Catholics. So I guess that means they're wrong. I mean, we're all wrong in believing sola scriptura and believing the gospel because rude people defend it, so it can't be true. I mean, that's his arguments. And those are his arguments because he has nothing else. He doesn't want to believe this truth. And instead of just ignoring it, he has to come up with something. And I think that first video he made about the flat earth, trying to say that there's 4 corners on a ball, where if you keep going west, eventually you'll go east, was just like, are you serious? That was embarrassing. So now he just basically, instead of eating the humble pie, has to do this whole spiel here. You know, this is what you get when somebody is prideful and they're arrogant and they don't want to face the truth, right? They throw up a big smoke screen talking about things that don't matter according to the subject, and then dismiss things that shouldn't have any impact on the situation. Because let's say, like an example he was bringing up in one of his videos, which shows his lack of humility, as he says, oh, he saw some flat earth video from some like long-haired hippie fella, and he was like, well, how could any Christian be deceived by this? And I was like, that just shows his humility. You don't think you can learn from somebody who's not a Christian? You're showing the same pride and arrogance Israel had, where, oh, they couldn't learn from the heathen, the Gentiles, and God had to humble them, right? Eat the humble pie, Brian. Eat the humble pie here. Because the hippie presented evidence, the Christians looked at it and was like, hey, this is true. This lines up. This makes sense. I don't believe in everything he believes religiously, his views on God and what have you, but what he's presenting here with the science of the flat earth, he's right on. Such as atheists. Here's another thing Christians have trouble with the atheists call out their church and talk about how they're hypocrites when in times that they're right. Saying, I didn't want to go to that church. You know, the people were hypocrites. They enabled sin and they were just like the world. And what do Christians do when an atheist says something like that? Oh, just this unbeliever. You don't even have a moral code. How can you even judge that? And just dismiss him instead of eating the humble pie and being like, you know what, you're right. We are a shitty example and we need to straighten up our act, because who knows who else we're actually deterring from coming to Christ. No, instead they're not going to eat the humble pie and admit this and come to God and work this thing out so that they can become better. Nope. Instead, they're going to eat the Sunday pride, and I mean the ice cream Sunday pride, instead of the humble pie, and not change, make excuses. So that's what we see going on here. Thanks for watching. Take care.